Hello everybody.
Hi.
Today we're in Essex to do a permission visit ROC Post yet again. This one is Rochford. Rochford ROC Post, excuse the pronunciation for all of you. And we've been given kind permission access by Richard, who owns the property here. So we're going to document it as best as possible. It had a really short shelf life. And one of the sad things, technically, is that the All It Be has sadly been replaced. Not by the current owner, we just want to add, but by the previous owner. So there was an All It Be here, it's sort of where my hand is over that way. But more importantly, I think the most important thing now is to go down in, because for all intents and purposes, it might be a bit of a relic in a good way. So let's do it. Come on. I mean, wow.
Incredible.
Really, wow. Worth clearing out the spiders, we can just sort of say. And again, massive thanks to Richard for allowing us to document this. Now, obviously, the focus isn't on us on this, it's about this beautiful ROC post, you sort of hinted at. It had a really short shelf life, which was 1962 to 1968. Really short for its purpose. But do you know what's really amazing? We've got to clarify this before we've even done anything. It's back to front.
It's not. The ladder is.
The ladder is placed incorrectly. So before we properly start geeking out and revealing too much, let's address the first thing that we've got. The first thing is that the sump handle is here, which is fantastic. Obviously, it doesn't work for obvious reasons, you can imagine over time. But as you saw with the ladder, basically, so the hatch is the hatch. So the hatch, everybody, is facing this way. And actually, and it's right that it's purposely done that way, so we know that that's not an accident because the counterweight is also attached, as you can probably see. So you can see the counterweight on the right, but what would normally be the case, or should be the case, finger of doom, is that the hatch should be above the ladder. The reason for that is because when you climb down, you can grab onto the hatch, to literally swing in and grab onto the ladder. That's really the main purpose of it. But on this occasion, the idea is that when you're coming down, it's quite sketchy because you've kind of got to hold on to the side of the ladder and then roll down. But the most important thing is that thank God there is still a hatch, because if there wasn't a hatch to get onto this ladder, that would be quite tricky to do. But for all intents and purposes, it is in fantastic condition. The counterweight works really well. The hatch is pretty much, apart from some rust, the ladder is in really amazing condition. And then let's just start. Well, we'll start in the main bit. Welcome everybody to the 3 original bunks that were here. Now we know they obviously station 3 people in ROC Post, so we know that actually, look, this is how it should look. You've got 2 bunks at the back, and then you've got 1 to the side, and then, again, you don't need much imagination on this one, you've got all the cupboards and shelves that are still here. Incredible. All the wiring's gone. You can see the original fixture for the tiny little light that would have been here as well. And obviously all your instruments and everything else have gone for obvious reasons. You've also got, we'll talk about that in a minute as well. You can see that from above as well. That's obviously where you put your meter, and obviously you use the pole and you put that through, etc., etc. I'm talking in layman's terms, but if you've seen a lot of the ROC posts we've done, we've gone into real good detail on these. But yeah, the cupboards are still here. This, we think, is the rubble from, well, we know it's the rubble that's come through the vent because that has been taken away. The vent at the top has gone. So what's happened is that all the rubble from that vent has fallen in and it's created this at the bottom here. Now, again, Richard, the current owner, was not responsible for any of that. He's not touched this, which has actually worked in its favour. And he's lived here for 6 years. So the previous owners, and do you know what? Hey, it's their property, they're allowed to do what they want. But by Richard keeping it the way he's kept it, has actually done it a huge favour.
Yeah.
Because this, in essence, it could never be fully restored because you've got the vent that's completely gone. And you'd have to hollow out that. But the rest of it inside, I mean, the original bunks, the original shelving. Yeah, so, there you go. Royal Observer Corps, saying instructions for the use, post first aid kit. Contents, yeah, content something, and instructions for use. For use of, yeah, something post first aid kit and then post simple facility. First aid kit has been used to, has been designed to something underground post simple facilities. Yeah, there's not much of it that's left, but how crazy is that? That's remarkable. Immediate treatment, something. I've never seen one of those. I doubt we will because of the condition. It's pretty much rotting away. But the fact that still exists. So again, you would have had all your equipment here. We're not going to go too in depth on this because again, we've seen plenty here. You can also understand that we're on a bit of a farm as well. So it's beautiful. So we've had a look here. We can see the vents, like I said, we can see the beds, which are incredible. Now we've got to take a look at the door. We've got an original door, which is always a winner. So that's beautiful, really well constructed in terms of the fact that it survives. It's got a really nice sort of mechanism that still works in terms of it just swings open really, really well. You can imagine that would have been the timer there that would have been located. But again, like I said, all the electrics have been pretty much stripped away. And then you've got your sump, which we've shown you as well, to pump out the water from the drain, which the drain is still here. Then we've got our utilities room / chemical toilet. Now we know the chemical toilet's gone. Actually, can you pass me the torch just for a second? It's a bit dark in there, thank you. So yeah. And this is covered in cobwebs. And behind that toilet, I'm going to try and do it, but I just don't really want to attract so many spiders. If you can see, yeah, there you go, just about. There's your other vent. Would have been here, but the fact that this is the original door is remarkable. Yeah, just, I don't know, sometimes you just sort of like, you're so amazed at what you see. Thank you very much. The fact that this door exists. Again, normally these doors, as you probably see, well, actually most of the time the doors are either there or they're not in these ROC posts. But again, it's testament to someone like Richard who owns this property that he's just left it. You know, thoughts and feelings, please.
Pretty incredible.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. It's just a wonderful opportunity that we get to do these. Now, and we get to do these private ones, which is really special. And like I said, we're not here to bombard you with a lot of information, because what we always try to do is encourage you to look at previous ones where the museum quality ones, yes, where you get to have a proper idea of all of that. Otherwise, we're just going to be pointing out a lot of stuff that's missing. The most important thing is that it's still here. When we go up top side, we'll show you where the All-It Be was. It's not there anymore, but there was an All-It Be that was attached to this. But the fact these bunks still survive, you know, it's just, I mean, we'll take that as a win for this, for how incredible it is. And the original shelving and the boards. You know, by all accounts, I mean, there's enough here to suggest that, you know, the condition, you could argue, is actually in really good condition for these types of ROC posts. It's just, like I said, it's just, what's fascinating is it's the ladder in position of the hatch is backwards.
Well, yeah.
You know, that's what's crazy about it. You come down, you're like, well, how do I put my feet and stuff like this? It's not the first one we've ever visited that's like that before.
The fact that the counterweight's at your back.
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't help.
But remarkable. And it's, another thing we've got to mention, it's dry down here.
Considering it doesn't have a vent.
Yeah, considering it doesn't have a vent, and we know that that's obviously sealed up at the top for the indicator above us, there you go. It's remarkably dry.
Yeah.
So it proves that actually with sump or no sump, they would have, you know, yeah, very good. I think we are done. I think so. We're giving everybody a date. The only thing we've not done is we'll take you topside and we'll show you everything else in there. But you can see, obviously, like I said, one of the big features, unfortunately, was the vent that they've pushed through.
Not the inwards.
Yeah, not to inwards, but the cupboards are still here. Right. It's okay. And then you've got a nice little ledge here. Again, you've got a bit of cabling. You've got the original coat hangers. You've got the original little sort of vents that are underneath the door. Again, everything is different in these. I mean, the vent that you've got in that utilities door. Sorry, I know these are small things that some of you might not be interested in, but the fact that you actually get to see them, normally they're just kicked through. Like I said, the sump again. Just that beautiful wood. It's just got a nice feel to it when you sort of like hold on to it and you go, you know, like these sumps, you sort of know that actually the mechanism would have been amazing when it worked. Obviously to pump out the water from the drain going up, and then like I said, that beautiful counterweight, which is rusted, but so's the lid. But hey, look, small victories again for the fact of what's left and what's here. So remarkable. But yeah, right, okay. I think that we will go topside and we'll show you the All It Be, and where the All It Be was, and then we'll show you just quickly in context what we mean by the ladder against the hatch up top. So. Talk about our final bit, really, which is also the All It Be, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the reason why this is slightly back to front in a weird way. So Sophie's going to point out, this is the hatch, and it's beautifully, the counterweight works beautifully on it. But as you can see, the difference is that
Your ladder is on this wall.
Your ladder is on this wall,
Not that wall.
So if you,
not even that should be on that wall.
So the idea is, if you were to go in normally, you'd go in facing that way.
That way.
Yeah.
So it's, very dodge.
But amazing, really. And now, if you, so we'll leave that for a second. I'll shut it in a minute. And then basically, we're in this beautiful farmstead. Now, the All It Be was there, and it's now part of it's sort of still there, but it's hard to sort of show you really. But it's now part of like a shed. Again, this was done before Richard had owned the property, so it's again what the previous owner was doing. And then more importantly, the other thing we need to show, which is slightly bizarre because it looks all a little bit funny angled, but it's not really in a weird way. there's your main post, Thames, your entrance, and then if we follow it round, there's your one of your indicators here, as you can see, and then somewhere roughly where Sophie's going to probably stand is where the vent would have been. Yeah, which is obviously not there anymore, and obviously all the rubble fell in, but there you go. Well, there we go.
Another one done.
Thank you so much to Richard for allowing us the access to do this. Really special one.
Yes.
Brilliant condition. And like he said, he's not really going to touch it.
No.
He doesn't really need to. Just keep it there for future generations rather than tampering with it and doing whatever. So thank you so much, mate, for doing that. Hopefully you really enjoyed this video and we documented it as best we can. It's an ROC post. Yep. They're not the biggest things that you can do. We can give you the dates and we can give you a rough guide. But what we would suggest is, if you'd like a more detailed version, please check out the playlist below.
Yep.
For some incredible ones such as Billericay, Penshurst and Cookfield, which are in amazing spotless condition, museum quality. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you.
No more words of Finch history because history matters. I think we can safely say it does. And we'll of course see you on another video very soon. Ready?
Ta-ra.
Bye.